You're welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be taking you through the process of drafting, cutting and sewing this beautiful wrap shawl collar gown. So without wasting much time, let's draft the back pattern first. So on this pattern paper, I have my shoulder line, half of it here. Then on it, I came down here by 1 inch, connected it to my neck width, which is about 3 inches from the zipper allowance. Then from there I came down here by half an inch for the neck depth and connected to the neck width. This is half an inch and this is about 3 inches. Then I took it down. Then from there I got my armhole cuff, which is my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Then I got the half length of the blouse I'm making. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to insert my darts, and I'm using darts of 4.5 inches for this client. 4.5 inches. Then I'm going to take it up. So I took it up by 10 inches and I'm going to connect. Then I'm going to take half an inch from both sides. So once that is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to come in here by 1 inch to prevent back bulge. Then from here I'm going to connect all the way up. Then on this part you will retake your 1 inch zipper allowance. Next is to take the circumference of your waist, then divide it by 4 and add 1 inch of that allowance to it and mark, extend the line. Then I'm going to connect all the way to my armhole line. So without wasting much time, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the pattern. Alright, so after cutting the back pattern, I'm going to go ahead and take the measurement from this zipper allowance. I'm going to measure what I have there. So the total of what I have there is 3.25 inches. 3.25 inches, and I'm going to record that because it's going to help me. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is to draft our front pattern. So to do that, I have like 5 inches allowance here and I have 6 inches allowance here, so it all depends on you. Next is that I went ahead to get my neck width, my neckline, which is not so important in this tutorials, it's just for a guide. So the neck width is 3 inches and I have my shoulder line. Then I went ahead to impute my armhole curve. This is my bust point line, this is my waist, my under bust point line, and this is my waistline. So next thing I'm going to do is that, it's a wrap gown, so I'm going to extend this line to 6 inches. So after extending the line, the next thing I'm going to do is to connect this point to this very point, okay, with a straight line. Alright, so what you need to do next is to get your back measurements. We got, for our back neckline, we got total of 3.25. So I'm going to insert that measurement over here. From this line, you can just move in here by half an inch. Then you connect to this point. You can make it a little bit curvy. Then from here you take a diagonal line for the length, for the width of your lapel, okay? So for the width of my lapel, I'm using 3.5 inches, or you can use 4 inches depending on how big you want your lapel to be, because it's going to be on fold. So I think 4 inches is okay for me. Make sure it's diagonal, okay? So after this, the next thing I'm going to do is to locate my breaking point. So from this my waistline, I'm going up by 2 inches before my under bust point line. So this becomes my breaking point, and I'm going to make a curve for the lapel to join this. Alright, so the next thing you need to do is to impute your darts. I'm using 4.5 inches for my darts. Then I'm kind of stopping it 1 inch from my bust point line. Then I'm going to make a straight line. Then 1/2 inch on both sides. Then for my bust dart, I'm using total of 1.5 inches. That's the difference between my back half length and the front half length. And I want to share it between this space and this space, so 1/2 inch will be going to this side and 1 inch will be going towards this side. So I'm going to connect 1.5 inches away from this line because I don't want it to be visible at all. So at this point you can go ahead and fold in the dart so that you get accurate measurements. So at this point I'm going to take my waist measurement divided by 4, which is 9 inches plus 1.5 inches for that. Then I'm going to reconnect to this line. So at this point I'm going to go ahead and cut out what we have. You can go ahead and impute your allowance, or you can add it directly on your fabric. So after cutting the front pattern, this is what we have, and this is the back pattern. So this is where I'll be joining the back. It's going to go this way. Then the shoulder will align. So but I'm going to take you through the sewing process. So we are making use of 180-degree flay for the downside. So I have my pattern paper. We'll be reducing the measurement. The actual measurement of this client is waist 36, but for this particular one, for this illustration, I'll be making use of 9 inches so that my pattern can contain. Then I'll be drafting up directly on the fabric. Then I'll show you exactly what I did. So this is my pattern. So when I get my fabric here, I'm using 3 yards of fabric and the width is about 60 inches. So I'm folding the whole of the 3 yards into 2. Then I'm going to fold again. So to get the radius, I'm going to divide the waist circumference by 3.14. Okay, so and when I do that, what I have is 2.8. Okay, so and I'm going to approximate it to 3 inches. All right, so I'm going to mark 3 inches all the way. Then for the length, let's use total of 7 inches. So I'm going to use a curve to connect the points together. So because we approximated this place to 3 inches, it's going to be a little bit bigger than 9 inches, which is okay. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out what we have. So after cutting, this is what we have. It's a 180-degree flay, and something like this, which is a full circle, is what we refer to as a 360-degree flay. I have a tutorial on how to do this. So let me go to my pattern and my fabric rather and draft the pattern. Alright, so after cutting the fabric, this is exactly what I have. It's a 180-degree flay. The waist I'm working with is 36 inches and I divided that by 3.14. Then what it gave me, I folded my fabric into four and cut out. Then I also cut out the full length just like I illustrated using the pattern paper. If you find this part confusing, let me know in the comment section, okay? So I have total of 22 inches for my sleeve length. Then for my cap height, I'm using 4 inches. Then on the cap height, I'm going to impute my round sleeve, which is about 9 inches, and I'm going to mark. Then I'm going to connect with a straight line over to this point. Then I'm going to go ahead and get the midpoint of this line. This is 10 inches and this is the height. Then I'm going to make a very nice curve connecting this, making sure it doesn't exceed this line. Then I'm coming down here a bit. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect to the wrist measurement. This is how to measure your wrist for the long sleeve, making sure it will pass through here. So for my client, it is 11 inches and I'm going to impute half of it. That's 5.5 inches. Then I'm going to connect straight to the armhole. So basically this is it. I'm going to cut out. If you find this tutorial helpful, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. If you're interested in the sewing process, let me know in the comment section. Alright, so this is what the sleeves looks like.